Every morning before the sun has fully risen, we are handed a precious gift, 24 hours. It is a treasure chest filled with possibility, yet it slips through our fingers if we do not treat it as the miracle it is. The question is not whether we have enough time. We each have the same measure, rich or poor, strong or weak. The question is, what will we do with the time we have been given? Time is not something we can store in jars or stack on shelves. Once a moment passes, it never returns. We may regret the hours wasted yesterday, but we cannot reclaim them. That is why today matters. Today is all we truly have, and how we choose to live it will shape who we become tomorrow. To use our 24 hours wisely, we must first decide what matters most. Life is full of noise, urgent voices calling for our attention, but not everything urgent is important. We must learn to pause, to breathe, to ask ourselves, will this matter 5 years from now? When we begin to answer honestly, we find that much of what we chase is fleeting, while the things of true worth often go unnoticed in the rush. We must learn to start our day with purpose. How you begin shapes how you end. Instead of reaching for distractions, reach for truth, for gratitude, for a clear intention. Set your heart in the right direction before the day sweeps you away. It is far easier to stay on course when you have decided your destination before you set sail. Guard your time as you would guard a treasure. Not every invitation must be accepted, not every problem is yours to solve, and not every voice deserves a hearing. Saying yes to everything is often saying no to what matters most. Choose wisely. There is a quiet strength in learning to say, I cannot, so that you can say a deeper yes to the right things. And let us not forget the beauty of rest. The world will tell you that business equals value, but exhaustion is not a badge of honor. A rested mind is clearer, a rested heart is gentler, and a rested soul can hear the whisper of wisdom. Sleep, stillness, and moments of peace are not wasted hours. They are the soil where strength grows. Each day, make room for what lasts. Invest in people, not possessions. Listen more than you speak. Give more than you take. Love more than you fear. And above all, remember that the clock is always ticking, not to scare you, but to remind you that this moment, right now, is a gift. Use it well, and tomorrow's you will thank you. At the close of your day, when the shadows lengthen and the noise quiets, may you look back and see not just tasks completed, but life lived well. 24 hours. That is your gift. Spend it with intention, spend it with joy, and you will never spend it in vain. If you want, I can also give you a shorter, more punchy version of this so it fits a motivational YouTube video script style. That way it will sound even more like Ruth Graham speaking directly to a crowd. Would you like me to do that? Time is a gift, a treasure we hold in our hands each morning without having done anything to earn it. It is placed into our care silently, without fanfare, yet it is of more value than gold, more precious than any possession we could own. Every person, no matter who they are, receives it in equal measure. 24 hours, no more, no less. We cannot bargain for more, and we cannot return what we do not use. This equality is one of life's great wonders. The richest king and the poorest labor awaken to the same allotment of time. And yet, while we all hold the same amount, what we do with it makes all the difference. Some will guard it, spending it carefully, aware of its worth. Others will let it slip away unnoticed, wasting it on things that have no lasting value. The strange thing about time is that it passes whether or not we notice. It does not slow down when we are careless, nor speed up when we are diligent. It moves forward steadily, second by second, moment by moment, until an entire day has passed, and we are left to wonder where it went. The reality is, we only have so many days to live. None of us knows the number, but we do know that they are limited. When we understand that truth, time begins to feel different. It no longer seems like something we can take for granted, but something fragile that must be handled with care. Every sunrise is an invitation to live intentionally, to fill the hours with what matters most, to avoid the trap of thinking we will get to it later. Later is not promised. Today is the only day we hold in our hands. When we see time as a gift, we stop treating it as though it belongs only to us. We begin to see the responsibility that comes with it. If someone handed you a rare jewel and told you it was the only one of its kind you would ever receive, you would not toss it in a drawer. and forget about it. You would guard it, value it, and put it to use in a way that honors its worth. Time is that jewel, but even rarer, for it cannot be replaced once it is gone. Understanding this changes how we live. We start to ask ourselves questions that dig deeper than the surface of our busy schedules. Am I using my hours in ways that align with what truly matters to me? Am I giving enough of my time to the people I love? Am I growing in the ways that matter most? Am I making space for rest, reflection, and gratitude? These questions guide us away from mindless living and toward a life of purpose. One of the greatest tragedies is not just running out of time, but realizing too late that we have filled our days with the wrong things. Many discover at the end of a season, or even at the end of life, that they have spent their hours chasing things that fade. Success without meaning, possessions without joy, and activity without love all leave a person empty. The gift of time is meant to be unwrapped and used for what lasts beyond the moment, for kindness, truth, learning, and building connections that endure. The beauty of time as a gift is that it renews daily. No matter how poorly we used it yesterday, today offers a fresh beginning. We cannot change the past, but we can choose differently now. A person who wasted years can decide, in a single moment of clarity, to value the hours ahead. This is the grace of time. It is always moving forward, inviting us to step into the next moment with greater wisdom than we had in the last. We can honor the gift by being present in it. So often, we live in the future, worrying about what might happen, or in the past, regretting what has already been. In doing so, we miss the only place where life truly happens, the present moment. To live in the now is to fully taste life, to notice the details, to give our full attention to what is before us. When we are present, even small moments become treasures, shared laughter, a deep conversation, the quiet beauty of a sunrise. Gratitude deepens our awareness of time's value. When we recognize each day as undeserved and irreplaceable, we stop treating it carelessly. Gratitude sharpens our vision, helping us see that even ordinary hours are extraordinary because they are finite. And in that awareness, we begin to live differently, not just existing from sunrise to sunset, but making choices that reflect the preciousness of what we've been given. The truth is, time is not ours to keep. It is a gift that must be opened, enjoyed, and invested while we have it. Every tick of the clock is a reminder that we are alive right now, and that what we do with this moment matters. It is up to us whether we spend it wisely or let it slip away. Deciding what matters most is one of the most important choices we make in life, yet it is often the one we postpone the longest. We fill our days with urgent demands, endless lists, and countless distractions, thinking we will one day have time to figure out our priorities. But the truth is, if we don't make the decision now, life will decide for us, and the result will rarely align with the things that truly matter to our hearts. Life is full of voices calling for our attention. Some are loud and pressing, emails that demand an instant reply, notifications that pull our focus, tasks that feel too important to delay. Others are quiet and easy to overlook. The steady presence of a loved one, the opportunity to learn something meaningful, the whisper of rest inviting us to slow down. The danger lies in mistaking the urgent for the important. Urgency shouts, but importance speaks softly, and unless we choose to listen, the things of lasting value can be drowned out by the noise of the moment. To decide what matters most, we must be willing to pause and reflect. This does not come naturally in a world that rewards constant motion. Stillness feels unproductive, but it is in the quiet that we gain clarity. In the rush, our vision narrows, and we begin to mistake business for purpose. But when we stop even for a short time, we can look at the bigger picture of our lives. We can ask ourselves questions that cut to the heart of the matter. If I continue to live as I am now, where will I be in 5 years? When I look back on this season of my life, what will I be glad I invested in? If this were my last year, how would I want to spend my days? The answers to these questions will not always be comfortable. They may reveal that we have been devoting our best energy to things that will not matter in the long run. They may show us that we have neglected relationships, personal growth, or our own well-being. But this awareness is not meant to shame us, it is meant to set us free. It gives us the power to shift our focus toward the things that truly deserve our time and attention. Deciding what matters most often means letting go of what matters less. This is not always easy, because the lesser things are not necessarily bad, they are simply not the best. It takes courage to say no to something good so that you can say yes to something better. It means disappointing others at times, choosing rest over constant activity, and turning down opportunities that do not align with your deeper values. But each time we make these choices, we reclaim our lives from the pull of distraction and place them in the direction of purpose. When we know our priorities, our decisions become simpler. We no longer have to agonize over every choice because we have a guiding standard. If family is one of our top values, we will be intentional about creating space for connection, even if it means adjusting our schedules. If personal growth matters deeply to us, we will carve out time to read, learn, and challenge ourselves, even if other activities are easier or more immediately rewarding. Clarity in our priorities acts like a compass. It keeps us moving in the right direction, even when life tries to pull us off course. Another benefit of deciding what matters most is that it brings peace. When we are unclear about our priorities, we often feel pulled in too many directions, trying to please everyone and keep up with everything. But when we know what matters, we can rest in the knowledge that we are investing our time wisely. Even if we cannot do everything, we can do the right things, and that is enough. It is also important to remember that our priorities may change with seasons of life. What matters most to a young parent may be different from what matters most to someone nearing retirement. This is why reflection must be ongoing. At each stage, we can reevaluate and realign, making sure our time and energy match the reality of our current calling. In the end, deciding what matters most is not a one-time decision but a daily one. Each morning we are given the chance to choose again, to place our focus on what will have lasting meaning, rather than what will fade with time. And when we consistently choose in this way, we build a life that reflects our deepest values, a life we can look back on with gratitude instead of regret. Starting your day with purpose is one of the most powerful habits you can cultivate, because the way you begin sets the tone for everything that follows. The first moments after you wake up are like fresh soil. What you plant there will grow throughout the hours ahead. If you start with chaos, distraction, or negativity, you may find yourself battling those things all day. But if you begin with clarity, gratitude, and intention, you carry that sense of focus and peace into every task and interaction. When you wake up, you are given a blank canvas. Yesterday's mistakes, distractions, or frustrations do not have to dictate today's outcome. You have a fresh chance to direct your energy toward what matters most. This is why it is important to resist the temptation to begin the day on autopilot. Many people reach for their phone before they even step out of bed, filling their mind with messages, headlines, and noise that someone else has decided is urgent. By doing so, they surrender the first and most valuable part of their day to outside influences, instead of choosing what they will think about, feel, and focus on. Starting with purpose means taking ownership of your morning. It means deciding, before the day can decide for you, who you will be and how you will spend your energy. This doesn't have to involve complicated routines. It begins with a mindset. It is simply choosing not to drift into the day, but to step into it with intention. That choice can be expressed in many ways, through prayer, reflection, journaling, exercise, reading something that feeds your mind and soul, or simply sitting in stillness before the rush begins. One of the best ways to start with purpose is to set a clear focus for the day. This doesn't mean overloading yourself with a long list of tasks, but identifying the most important thing you want to accomplish. Ask yourself, if nothing else gets done today, what one thing would make this day feel meaningful or productive? By deciding this early, you give your mind a target. The rest of your decisions can then flow from this focus, helping you avoid the trap of scattering your energy in too many directions. Gratitude is another powerful ingredient in a purposeful morning. Taking a moment to acknowledge the good in your life shifts your perspective from lack to abundance. It reminds you that even in difficulty, there is beauty to be found. Gratitude changes the way you see the people around you, the work before you, and the challenges you face. Instead of feeling burdened by what lies ahead, you begin to see it as an opportunity and a blessing. Starting with purpose also means starting with presence. Too often we live in the future, mentally running ahead to the problems we expect to face, or in the past, carrying yesterday's burdens into today. But the only place we can live is in the present. Taking a few moments to be still, breathe deeply, and center yourself in the here and now grounds you for the day ahead. It allows you to bring your full attention to whatever you do next, whether it's a conversation, a task, or a quiet moment alone. Another aspect of beginning the day well is aligning your morning with your deeper values. If your faith is central to your life, you may choose to begin with prayer or reading something that strengthens your spirit. If health is a priority, you might start with movement, stretching, or nourishing your body. If creativity is important to you, perhaps the first minutes of the day could be spent writing, drawing, or dreaming before the practical demands set in. The key is to let your morning reflect what is most important to you, rather than letting it be consumed by what is merely urgent. It is also worth noting that starting your day with purpose begins the night before. Rest is an essential foundation for intentional living. When you end the day well, putting away distractions, preparing for the next day, and giving yourself time to unwind, you make it easier to rise with clarity and energy. Without rest, even the best morning intentions can be clouded by fatigue and mental fog. Ultimately, starting your day with purpose is about choosing your direction before the world chooses it for you. It's about creating a rhythm that fuels you rather than drains you. It is not about perfection but about progress, a willingness to shape your mornings so that they shape your life. When you make this choice consistently, you begin to notice a change not only in your productivity, but in your peace, your relationships, and your overall sense of fulfillment. Each morning becomes more than just the start of another day. It becomes the beginning of a day well lived. Guarding your time is one of the most valuable skills you can learn, because time is the one resource that can never be replenished. Once an hour is gone, it cannot be recovered no matter how much you might wish for it back. Unlike money or possessions, time cannot be earned again. It can only be spent once. That is why it is so important to protect it, to treat it as the rare and irreplaceable treasure it truly is. Guarding your time begins with recognizing its worth. Many people allow hours to slip away simply because they have not stopped to think about how precious those hours are. They spend them carelessly, filling them with things that do not bring joy, growth, or purpose. But when you understand that every day is made up of moments you will never get back, you begin to see that your time is not something you can give away lightly. It is part of your very life, and to waste it is to waste a piece of yourself. One of the biggest challenges in guarding your time is learning to say no. This is difficult because we live in a culture that often equates business with value. The more full your calendar, the more important you must be, or so the thinking goes. But in reality, an overloaded schedule often means you are giving your best energy to things that do not matter most. Every yes to one thing is a no to something else, whether you realize it or not. If you are always saying yes to every request, every invitation, and every distraction, you may be saying no to rest, to your health, to your relationships, and to your own goals. Saying no is not selfish, it is wise. It is an act of stewardship, a way of protecting your most valuable resource so that you can give it to what truly deserves it. This means setting boundaries and keeping them, even when it feels uncomfortable. It means deciding in advance how much of your time you are willing to give to certain activities or people, and not letting guilt push you into giving more than you can afford. Guarding your time also involves being aware of how easily small distractions can steal it away. A few minutes scrolling on your phone can turn into half an hour. A quick conversation can stretch into an hour if you are not mindful. Interruptions are inevitable, but how you respond to them determines whether they derail your day or simply take a moment. This is why it is helpful to be intentional about when and how you allow yourself to be interrupted. Turning off unnecessary notifications, setting aside specific times for checking messages, and creating quiet spaces for focused work can all help you protect your hours from being nibbled away bit by bit. It is equally important to guard your time from overcommitment to things that seem good, but are not right for your season of life. There will always be more opportunities than you can accept. The temptation to take on too much can be strong, especially when you care about helping others or making a difference. But just because something is good does not mean it is meant for you right now. Discernment is key. Ask yourself, will this help me live in alignment with my values and priorities? Will it take me away from something more important? If the answer reveals a conflict, it may be time to let it go. Rest is another area where guarding your time is crucial. Our culture often undervalues rest, treating it as a luxury instead of a necessity. But without adequate rest, your effectiveness, creativity, and even your relationships will suffer. Guarding time for rest means scheduling it as deliberately as you schedule work or appointments. It is not wasted time, it is an investment in your long-term ability to live well. Guarding your time does not mean becoming rigid or unwilling to help others. Life is unpredictable, and there will be moments when love or compassion calls you to set aside your own plans. But even in those moments, the habit of valuing your time will help you respond with balance instead of burnout. You will give freely because you have chosen to, not because you have been pressured into it or because you allowed your life to be overrun by the demands of others. When you guard your time, you begin to notice that your days feel more meaningful. You are not constantly rushing or trying to catch up because you have made space for what matters most. You are less likely to look back with regret over wasted hours and more likely to end the day with a quiet sense of satisfaction. Guarding your time is not about having control over every moment. It is about choosing how you spend your moments so that your life reflects the things you value most. Rest is essential, not just for the body, but for the mind and soul as well. In a world that measures worth by productivity and constant motion, rest can feel like a luxury or even a sign of laziness. Yet the truth is, rest is not a reward we earn after exhausting ourselves. It is a necessity for living well. Without it, our energy drains, our creativity fades, and our relationships suffer. Rest is the soil in which clarity, strength, and purpose can grow. The human body is not designed for endless activity. Just as muscles need time to recover after exercise, our entire being needs moments of stillness to repair, recharge, and prepare for what comes next. When we deny ourselves rest, we are not gaining more time, we are actually stealing from our future. Fatigue, burnout, and even illness are often the price of refusing to slow down. A well-rested person can accomplish more with less effort because their mind is sharper and their spirit is steadier. Rest is more than just sleep. Sleep is a vital part of it. True rest includes anything that allows you to step away from demands, quiet the noise, and renew your energy. This can mean taking time in nature, enjoying a hobby, sitting in silence, or having an unhurried conversation with a loved one. It might be an afternoon nap, a slow walk, or reading something that nourishes your heart. The form it takes will be different for each person. The effect is the same. Rest restores us to a place of balance. One of the greatest challenges to embracing rest is the feeling that we are wasting time. Many people struggle with guilt when they are not doing something measurable. Yet rest is deeply productive in its own way. It allows the mind to process, the body to heal, and the heart to find peace. It gives us space to reflect, to notice what is going on inside us, and to hear the quiet guidance we often miss in the rush. Without these pauses, we risk moving through life on autopilot, reacting to demands instead of living with intention. Rest also strengthens relationships. When we are constantly tired, we have less patience, less attentiveness, and less ability to be present with others. We may be physically there, but emotionally distant. Taking time to rest helps us show up fully for the people who matter most. It allows us to listen better, respond more thoughtfully, and enjoy moments together without the cloud of exhaustion. In our culture, business is often worn like a badge of honor, as if being constantly on the go proves our value. Constant motion does not necessarily mean a meaningful life. Rest is not about quitting or giving up. It is about creating a rhythm that allows us to give our best when it is time to work and to step back when it is time to renew. Seasons of activity and seasons of rest are both necessary. Just as the earth has cycles of growth and stillness, our lives also need space for both. Learning to rest well requires boundaries. It means protecting time for rest as carefully as we protect time for work. This might involve turning down invitations, limiting work hours, creating no screen times to quiet the constant stream of information. It may require setting aside certain days or hours that are dedicated to renewal, even when other things compete for that space. These choices can be difficult at first, especially when the world around us moves at such a relentless pace. But with practice, rest becomes a natural and valued part of life. Rest also helps us see life more clearly. When we are exhausted, even small problems can feel overwhelming. Fatigue magnifies worry and frustration, making challenges seem bigger than they are. When we are rested, we are better able to see solutions, to think creatively, and to respond with patience. Rest clears the fog so that we can face life's demands with confidence rather than with dread. There is also a spiritual side to rest. It is in stillness that many people feel most connected to God, to themselves, and to what matters most. Quiet moments invite reflection and gratitude. They remind us that life is not meant to be lived in a constant race, as a journey where beauty can be found in both movement and pause. Rest is a way of trusting that the world will keep turning even if we stop for a while. Far from being a waste of time, rest is an investment. It is the foundation that allows us to live love and work with joy and purpose. Without it, even the most important goals become burdens, and even the most beautiful moments can pass by unnoticed. With it, we have the energy to embrace life fully and to give our best to the people and causes we care about. Investing in what lasts means directing your time, energy, and resources toward things that hold enduring value, rather than chasing what will fade with time. In a world filled with constant trends, shifting priorities, and fleeting pleasures, it is easy to spend ourselves on what looks urgent or exciting in the moment, but ultimately leaves us empty. To invest in what lasts is to live with a long view, keeping our eyes on the things that will remain meaningful years from now, not just hours from now. Many of the things that seem important today will eventually disappear, possessions break, titles fade, and achievements are forgotten. What seemed like the greatest need in one season can become irrelevant in the next. But certain investments grow in value over time: relationships, character, wisdom, kindness, and love. These are not bound by seasons, and they do not lose their worth with age. Instead, they deepen, becoming even more precious as the years pass. Relationships are among the most lasting investments we can make. The people we walk through life with, family, friends, mentors, and those we help along the way, are part of the foundation on which our lives are built. Investing in these relationships means giving time, attention, and care. It means listening without distraction, showing up when it matters most, and offering encouragement when others are weary. While relationships require effort, they return far more than they cost. Shared memories, mutual support, and a sense of belonging are treasures that cannot be bought or replaced. Character is another lasting investment. Who we are matters more than what we own or accomplish. A reputation built on honesty, integrity, and compassion will carry weight long after material success has faded. Building character requires daily choices, doing what is right when it is difficult, keeping promises when it is inconvenient, and treating others with respect even when they cannot offer anything in return. Over time, these small acts shape the kind of person we become, and that legacy outlives possessions and titles. Wisdom is a lasting investment that pays dividends in every area of life. It is more than knowledge, it is the ability to apply truth with discernment, Gaining wisdom takes humility, patience, and a willingness to learn from both successes and mistakes. It comes from listening to those who have walked the path before us, seeking truth in a noisy world, and being willing to change course when we see a better way. Wisdom protects us from costly errors and guides us toward choices that bring peace and purpose. Kindness is an investment that ripples outward far beyond what we can see. A simple act of kindness, a word of encouragement, a helping hand, a moment of understanding can change the course of someone's day or even their life. Though it may seem small, kindness has a way of multiplying, inspiring others to do the same. Years later, people may forget what we said, but they will remember how we made them feel. Love, above all, is the most enduring investment. Unlike possessions or achievements, love does not fade when circumstances change. It deepens through sacrifice, forgiveness, and commitment. Investing in love means giving of ourselves without expecting something in return, offering grace when others fall short, and choosing to see the best in people even when it is hard. Love builds bridges where division exists, heals wounds that nothing else can, and leaves a legacy that outlasts our own lifetime. To invest in what lasts often requires going against the flow of culture. It means saying no to the constant pull toward instant gratification, choosing instead the slow, steady work of building something meaningful. It means recognizing that success is not measured by how much we accumulate, but by how much we give and how deeply we live. It means valuing depth over appearance and long-term growth over short-term reward. This kind of investment is not made in grand gestures alone, but in the everyday choices of life. It is in the moments we choose to be present rather than distracted, in the decision to speak truth instead of what is easy, in the willingness to give our time to someone who needs us, even when we are busy. It is in the choice to keep learning, to keep growing, and to keep loving even when it costs us something. When we invest in what lasts, find that our lives take on a different kind of richness, not one measured in bank accounts or possessions, but in the depth of our connections, strength of our character, and the peace that comes from knowing we have spent our days well. What we build in love, wisdom, and kindness will stand the test of time, and it will continue to speak long after we are gone. Living with intention means approaching each day with a clear sense of purpose, rather than drifting through life on autopilot. It is about making deliberate choices that reflect your values, priorities, and long-term vision, instead of letting circumstances or other people decide the course of your life. When you live with intention, you are not merely reacting to what happens, you are actively shaping the direction in which you are going. So much of life can be spent in routine, moving from one task to the next without stopping to ask why we are doing what we do. It is easy to get caught in the cycle of habit, following patterns we did not choose and meeting expectations we did not set. While routines can be helpful, they can also become a trap if we never pause to examine them. Living with intention requires that pause. It invites us to step back and ask, am I spending my days in ways that align with what matters most to me? To live with intention, you must first know your values. These are the principles that guide your decisions and give meaning to your life. Without knowing them, it is difficult to make choices that truly reflect who you are. Identifying your values might involve reflecting on what brings you joy, what causes stir your heart, and what kind of person you want to be remembered as. Once these values are clear, they become a filter through which every decision can be made. Living with intention also involves being present in the moment. Too often, our minds are in the past, replaying mistakes, or in the future, worrying about what might happen. In both cases, we miss what is right in front of us. Intention thrives in presence. When we give our full attention to the person we are with, the task we are doing, or the beauty around us. This presence not only deepens our experience of life, but also strengthens our relationships and enhances the quality of our work. One of the hallmarks of intentional living is the ability to say no to what does not align with your priorities. The world offers endless opportunities and demands, but not all of them are meant for you. Every yes to one thing is a no to something else. And if you are not careful, you may find that your time is filled with things that matter little, while the things that truly matter are left undone. Saying no can be uncomfortable, especially if it disappoints others. It is essential if you want to live a life that reflects your values rather than one shaped by outside pressure. Living with intention is not about perfection. It does not mean that every choice will be flawless, or that every day will unfold exactly as planned. It is about direction, not control. There will be days when things go wrong, when distractions pull you off course, when unexpected events require you to adapt. The difference is that when you live with intention, you can return to your purpose quickly because you know where you are headed. You are not wandering without a map. You have a compass, and you know how to find your way back. Part of living with intention is setting aside time to reflect. Reflection allows you to evaluate how you are spending your time, where your energy is going, and whether your actions are producing the outcomes you want. This could be done daily, weekly, or monthly, but the key is to be honest with yourself. If something is not working, intentional living means having the courage to make changes. Intentional living often requires slowing down. In a culture that celebrates speed and constant productivity, slowing down can feel counterintuitive. But moving too quickly can lead to careless decisions, shallow connections, and a lack of fulfillment. By slowing down, you give yourself the space to think, to feel, and to choose deliberately rather than reacting out of habit or urgency. This way of living also means aligning your actions with your long-term vision. It is easy to get caught in the demands of the present and forget about the future you want to create. Intentional living bridges that gap. It connects today's choices with tomorrow's results, ensuring that the way you spend your hours builds the kind of life you desire. This might mean investing in relationships now so they are strong later, building skills that will serve you in the future, making sacrifices today for the sake of a greater reward down the road. When you live with intention, your life takes on greater clarity and peace. You begin to let go of the noise and business that once distracted you and instead focus on what truly matters. Your time, energy, and attention become more valuable to you, and you choose to spend them in ways that align with your deepest convictions. In doing so, you create a life that is not only full, but deeply meaningful, a life you can look back on with gratitude rather than regret. Ending the day with peace is a vital practice that often gets overlooked in the rush of modern life. As the sun sets and the business fades, many find themselves overwhelmed by unfinished tasks, worries about tomorrow, or regrets from the hours that have passed. Yet, choosing to end the day with peace can transform how we rest, recover, and prepare for what lies ahead. It is a conscious decision to release the burdens of the day, to forgive ourselves for mistakes, and to embrace the quiet assurance that, despite imperfections, we have done our best with the time given. One of the keys to ending the day peacefully is reflection. Taking a moment to look back on the day allows us to acknowledge what went well and to accept what did not. This is not a time for harsh judgment or self-criticism, but for gentle honesty. Recognizing accomplishments, no matter how small, nurtures gratitude and encourages us to see the progress we make over time. At the same time, acknowledging where we fell short or where conflicts arose helps us learn and grow. Reflection prepares our minds to rest, freeing us from carrying unresolved tension into the night. Releasing worry is another essential part of ending the day with peace. Often, our minds race with concerns about the future, things we cannot control, decisions yet to be made, or problems we hope to solve. This kind of thinking steals the calm that rest requires. Choosing peace means intentionally handing over those worries, trusting that solutions will come in time, whether through prayer, meditation, simply reminding ourselves that some things are beyond our control. Releasing anxiety creates space for rest to take hold. Forgiveness is a powerful practice to bring peace to the end of the day. We are human and make mistakes, sometimes in how we treat others, sometimes in how we care for ourselves. Holding on to guilt or resentment only weighs us down and disrupts our ability to find peace. Offering forgiveness to ourselves and to those who have wronged us lightens our hearts and allows healing to begin. When we forgive, we free ourselves from the prison of past hurts and open the door to peaceful sleep and renewed hope. Creating a routine that signals the end of the day can also help cultivate peace. Habits such as dimming the lights, turning off screens, reading something uplifting, or spending a few quiet moments in gratitude and prayer send a message to our minds and bodies that it is time to rest. This gentle transition helps ease the shift from the active demands of the day to the restorative quiet of night. Over time, these rituals become anchors of calm, bringing comfort even on the most hectic days. Peace at the end of the day also involves physical rest. Our bodies carry the marks of the day's work, stress, and movement. Taking time to unwind through gentle stretches, deep breathing, a warm bath can relax muscles and calm the nervous system. When the body is soothed, the mind follows. Nourishing sleep is more accessible when we treat our bodies with care in these final hours. Another important aspect is gratitude. Reflecting on the blessings of the day, even in the midst of challenges, shifts our focus from scarcity to abundance. It reminds us that even when life is difficult, there is goodness to be found. Gratitude softens our hearts and opens us to peace. Naming specific things we are thankful for before bed cultivates a spirit of contentment that can carry us through the night. It is also helpful to release the need for perfection before sleep. So often, we look back on the day wishing we had done better, been kinder, handled situations differently. While growth and self-improvement are important, perfectionism robs us of peace and rest. Accepting that we are doing the best we can with what we have right now allows us to lay down the burdens of regret. Peace comes when we embrace our humanity and choose compassion over criticism. Ending the day with peace prepares us for a new beginning. Restful sleep renews our energy, sharpens our minds, and restores our spirit. When we cultivate peace before bed, create the conditions for restoration that enable us to face tomorrow with hope and strength. Without this intentional closure, we risk carrying the weight of the day into the next, leaving us exhausted and overwhelmed. In the quiet moments before sleep, peace becomes a sacred gift we give ourselves. It is the soft whisper that says, "You are enough. Tomorrow is a new day." Choosing peace is not always easy, especially when life is filled with challenges. It is a choice within our reach, a gentle, powerful act of self-care that honors the precious gift of time we have been given. When we end each day with peace, we not only rest better, we live better.